Hi, I'm Christina, and this is New Ways Podcast. Today, my guest is a singer, songwriter, and producer, R&B vegan, Honore. Thank you for being back here with me today.
Hey, what's up, Christina? How are you?
I'm great. When I saw you, I'm just like, yes, because you're such a great guy, and we always have such insightful conversation.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so I just really want to thank you for being back and
Yes.
bringing this one kind of topic to my attention. So today we're going to be talking about building a safe space and all different realms of it and community and relationships. Honestly, even with yourself, we can go into that. And can you share with the listeners what started this topic that we came up with?
Well, earlier this year, if you didn't know, there was fires that happened in Altadena, in my hometown, and it forever changed the community. It changed a lot of things within me, and so I did what I could to help my community, and within that, writing new music, spawning inspirational things, and yeah, it's something that really I'll carry forever in my heart. I'm originally from Altadena. My childhood home in Altadena was affected, completely burned down. So we never thought that it would be that way. Every year there's like winds that come in. It's like, okay, that'll pass. Maybe a few things may be shuffled around in the yard, but never to this extreme. So it was definitely something unexpected for the community, and so yeah. So within that, I definitely wrote some new music, and we can definitely talk about that today.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even this didn't even hit me until you were just speaking about it. But how crazy is it that now it's been almost a year since the fires and
Yes.
since everything happened? This happened January of
Mm-hmm.
2025, and we're now in December going into
Yes.
the new year. So full circle, and a lot's probably changed in a year, and I'm sure your vision of community and what it is has changed due to these tragic events.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons we're talking about this too today is because you wrote a song called Haven, right?
Yes.
And what I really love, he just reached out to me and he's like, check it out. Like, let me know what you think. I would love to talk about it. And I'm like, okay. So before even, just some insight for the listeners, before even coming up with this topic, he kept saying in the song, like, let me be your haven. Let me be your safe space. And that really hit me because I'm like, the fact that you care so deeply about your community and you want to be there for them and support them through this hard time, to me, that's just something amazing because it's very, very easy when tragedy hits to only think about yourself, right? But the fact that you're also over here seeing what everybody else is going through, I feel like we could use a little bit more of that where it's just like if you're going through something, chances are somebody else is, and it's so much easier to do it with a community than alone,
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, for me, I just instantly react to it, and how it started was a phone call from my good buddy, Chris, that said, hey, I live in Altadena. We're getting this evacuation notice, and my home, my other home is in San Gabriel, which is maybe like 20 minutes away from Altadena down the road. And he goes, can I stay with you over the night? And I'm like, yeah, for sure, dude. Come through, no problem, And we're, like I said, once we took it for granted, like I'm thinking it's cool, So he came through, he stayed over. And then that Wednesday morning, I got a call at 7 a.m. from my auntie who lives right around the corner in Altadena from our house, our childhood house. And she was screaming. And I just went into reaction mode. And thank goodness, Chris is like, dude, what are you going to do? I said, I got to go up there and try to take care of my aunt and save her, So he goes, no worries, I'll drive you. So thank goodness to Chris, he drove me up to Altadena, and you're in the pretty mountains and you're seeing the Eaton Canyon and all that stuff, and and as we are going closer to home, the darker it got, the gloomier it got, the fires of reality started to hit, and they grew and grew and grew, and I remember clearly, I just thought it was not real. I just couldn't believe it, right? So we were driving, and we were driving past my house on the other side of the street, and I saw all the fires down the road, but didn't think about it. Went to try to get to my auntie's house. There was so much fire that we couldn't get there. So we parked on the corner, and I just jumped out of the car, and I just started running down the road to my auntie's house. And it was really like in slow motion because on each side of me, there were cars exploding with fire. And I had never felt so much heat before. You know, like when you're in the sauna or different things.
Yeah,
Different
definitely.
things.
Well, that's a whole nother type
Or
of
you're
heat.
doing
That's kind of like you're in an oven, to be honest with you.
So it was just like I'm running towards to her house, and I didn't think about how dangerous it could be. I just wanted to go see her and get her out of there, right? So I got as close as I could, and there was like a wall of fire blocking me and my aunt's house. So I couldn't even see. And at that split moment, I really thought like, wow, this is it. I don't think I'm going to see her anymore. So I turned around and I was running back, and I was trying to keep low because I was always taught like just stay low because the smoke rises of everything.
I'm
know?
like going back to middle school. And we have all these drills, and you're
Yeah,
like,
right?
when am I ever going to have to use this?
True.
And now it's like, okay, you guys, you never know full circle when things are going to come
True
back
that,
around. To be
right?
honest with you,
And I had the mask on, but I couldn't breathe. So I'm holding my breath. I'm running as fast as I can, and I'm pretty athletic. So I run every day. And I felt like I wasn't running fast enough. So finally got back to the car, and then I was distraught. I was just like, I didn't think my aunt was going to survive this. I just had no idea. So I had another idea. So I said, Chris, take me around the block. Went around the block, and then there was like an opening. We found my auntie, my cousin, and another neighbor that was outside in front on their driveway, just standing there. And I'm like, yo, like, oh, and so I got out the car. I'm like, auntie, we got to get out of here. Let's go. She's screaming. My cousin Mimi's screaming.
Why were they just standing there though?
And then Mr. Gene, he's a longtime family friend. He was there. So I said, auntie, get in the car. We got to go. We got to go now. Because literally maybe like 50 feet away, the fire was literally coming towards us. And Mr. Gene was so stubborn. He's like, I'm not leaving.
Oh man.
You know, he was the stubborn black dude. He was just like, I'm not leaving. I've been here my whole life. I've endured this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, sir, I hear you. I'm trying to be respectful, but we got to go.
Yeah.
And he just didn't want to leave. He goes, I'm staying here. And then that moment, it was another moment like, I don't think I'm going to see Mr. Gene anymore. So my auntie got in her car. Mimi got into Chris's car, and we left. And we left Mr. Gene there. And it was just the weirdest feeling. Like I left a man standing alone in the middle of this fire chaos, and he's about to die, you know? So we left, and it happened so fast. We got back to the house. My auntie was there. Just everybody's just emotional, crying and different things. And all I could think about, like, yo, I left this guy.
Yeah.
And I felt guilty about it, but he wanted to that was his destiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we thought Mr. Gene was gone. So a day later, we got the call that he was in the hospital. Somebody, his neighbors or someone, found him on the floor and took him to the Huntington Hospital in Pasadena. He had burns all over his head, all in his hands, and all these different things. His house burnt down completely as well. So I'm like, okay, Mr. Gene. I said, where's he going to stay? You know, we were like trying to figure out. I said, well, he can stay at my house in St. Gabriel. So Mr. Gene, when he got discharged, he stayed at my house. My auntie was sleeping in the living room on the couch. My music studio, I have a little couch there. So Mr. Gene, we set it up for him, and he was staying there. So it was kind of like a little sanctuary at the Honore Estates, you know. And so I was taking care of that. But then my mom was there too. So it was all these, you know, older people. I just kind of felt like I was 16 again, like at home. You know? And so we were taking care of Mr. Gene. My auntie was cool though. She didn't get burnt or anything, but literally her house was affected a little bit, but it still stands. The neighbors that helped her were like using the hoses. The neighbors that helped my auntie, their house is burnt down. And it was just so crazy to know like everything that I've known is completely gone. You know, my house, my elementary school was burnt down. The libraries that I went to, all of my friends' houses that we would go over to play video games after school, completely gone. So it was no joke. It was like, wow, couldn't believe it.
Okay, that story just now kind of blew my mind. I'm not going to lie to you, because For one, that's insanely brave of you to go ahead and just face the flames and be like, I have to go and help them. Like, what was the initial thought going through your brain when you were like, I'm going, getting in the car, driving through fire to meet them there?
Yeah, literally, the fear of not for myself, but the fear of not seeing my aunt again, the
Mm,
fear of not being able to go there in the mornings to help her with her yard and
mm.
all the stuff that I've done growing up with her, and after the fact is like, yo, like, did I just really put myself in a position to harm myself for somebody that I love? Of
Mhm.
course, I would do it again. I would do it again. I would do it for a stranger. I would do it, that's just my
Yeah.
nature. Um, yeah, you just react to the people, to things, and I couldn't have like live with myself if I felt like I didn't try. If she perished, at least I did my part to help out. But unfortunately, and the weirdest thing was as we were going up, I had, my camera, my phone, and trying to document little things in the middle of the mist. And I remember there was another gentleman that was watering his house with the
Yeah.
hose. He died. There was like, I think about 3 or 4 people that I didn't know personally, but they were neighbors that passed away because they were just like fighting for their right to stay there, fighting the elements of life and different things. And in Altadena, it happens, where there's like rains and, we're affected because we're
Yeah.
really close to the mountains. Um, but it puts things in perspective as far as life. People are going to do what they feel is right no matter what, even if it's facing their own demise.
Yeah.
In Altadena, the thing about it is very historic for for Black people because that was one of the first cities that they allowed Black people to own homes. So a
Mm.
lot of my friends, including our family, we were passed down. Our grandma lived there and she got the house for like 20,000 back in the day, and then gave it to so and so. So it's inherited, and so it's very significant
Yeah.
for people of color, to actually own something. So it cuts a lot of different ways. And before, the changes within the cities, gentrification and all these different things.
Yeah.
It was predominantly Black and brown people that I knew of. When I was growing up in the '90s, as a kid, that's all you seen. So over the changes of the years, seeing other races, to come up there because it's a very beautiful place.
Yeah.
Altadena is just, to me, it's like, oh, mountain, I don't care. Who cares? But
Yeah.
but now property values and different things over the years, so it's changed a lot. But the spirit of Altadena is definitely there. The community getting together and to say, look, we're going to rebuild. Altadena is not for sale. I'm actually wearing this Made in Dina hoodie from Jason. What's up, buddy? The spirit of us trying to community and to rebuild is amazing. So, in the midst of tragedy, wrote the song Haven. Well, actually, originally it was called Safe Space.
Mm.
Safe Space was the original concept because a week after, while I'm trying to take care of my family members at home, I have my own personal work, which is my music show, and I'm booked and I'm at the airport. And it just hit me like, yo, did this really happen? Like,
Sometimes it takes a minute to
it does.
register. Like you're just
Yeah.
in it and you're reacting so much. It doesn't
Yeah.
actually impact your psyche of the tragedy that just happened because you're just, let's fix it. Let's help
I was
people.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I'm at the airport. I'm waiting to board, and then I started writing this line. It's like I run through the fires, endure the pain.
Yeah.
Baby, I protect you through the hurricane. So I started to write this, and that's how I deal with my just life and different things. I write about my experiences, whether it's love, life, reality.
Hmm.
And I said, maybe I can write something that will help me, but then bigger help the community and help others.
Yeah.
So therefore, I wrote the song. It's called Safe Space at first. So pretty excited about it, and took it back to my management. They listened to it like, wow. They were like, this is really good, And so we sat with it for a little bit and like, what do you want to do with that honorary? And I'm like, well, I definitely want to release it. I want to attach it to anything that we can do for the communities, raise
Hmm.
funds with it, blah, blah, blah. And they say, okay, this is good, but let's take it a step further, thinking marketing wise and
Of course.
broaden it in a way. And then they were like, well, let's get you to collaborate with some other people and to just make it shine and pop a little bit more. So, work with Theory. His name is Theory. Really great producer, songwriter in his right, and Allure Management and Lulu and everybody. We got together, and then we reinvented the song and made it Haven. They thought Haven would have been a better approach. I'm like, oh, so it still has the spirit of like a safe space.
Yeah.
And so we released Haven earlier this year, and super proud of it. It touched the hearts of many every time I perform it. It's great. And then for me to go back to Altadena, they had like these events, for the community with rhythms. It's called Rhythms of the Village. Emeka and the whole tribe, the team was there, and singing Haven in front of my Altadenians
Yeah.
and my community. It was heartfelt. I was like, wow, it's like, let me be your haven, let me be your safe space. I know what you're going through. We're here. We're gonna rebuild. We're gonna be there for each other. And to see all the races, everybody there, it was just amazing. So it just put things in perspective. Like, yes, we can have something tragic, but we won't let that define us. It's gonna really help us to be better and to appreciate life, to appreciate all these things that sometimes we do tend to take for granted because we just live. We're here today and we're talking and we're living and breathing. But for those who are not here anymore, what can we do? We speak for them and we do our best to stand up and fight for what we can. And I'm just proud to be here to talk about it with you.
I have so much to say from that, to be honest with you. And I'm such a huge fan of music. I love songs that have a deep message. And that's what music is to me, is I love these conversations because behind every 2, 3 minute, 4 minute song, right, is there's a whole story behind it. And it can genuinely make people feel connected, seen, and heard. And it's also fun. People, a lot of times, if you listen to the lyrics, there's so much soul in it and it really hits the people that it's meant to hit. So thank you for writing that music. And I'm happy that it's an outlet for you as well as probably so many other people. They probably listen to it and they're just I needed this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And to most people, could just be oh, it's a song. You wrote some lyrics, it's 4 minutes. But I'm when you get to the nitty gritty of it, there's a huge story and journey behind it. And the story that you just shared with me, I feel has so many amazing insights on life. When you were saying that your neighbor refused to leave and there were people staying there watering their houses, I think that's a very, very, not to get a little traumatic or gruesome, but I feel that's a way to also create a safe space too, is they were doing what they wanted to do. It's not you were dragging them out of their homes, right? You allowed them to be who they are. And then once the fire finally settled and they needed a place, you're still there I know we probably could have prevented this, right? You didn't have to end up in the hospital, but I'm still here to support you through your decisions. Creating a safe space for people, it's not forcing what you think is best on them. It's allowing them to make their decisions and still being there to support them and help them afterwards.
Yes.
To me, that is genuinely what a safe space is. And you clearly created that in your community so amazingly. And the next question I kind of want to ask you is, having this house full of people, vesically in your body, how did it make you feel after?
It just showed the importance of family and the people that you love. And, Mr. Gene, he's been my auntie's family friend for years, So seeing that he was there in my studio, he had the wounds all on his head and his hands were all burnt. And he just reminded me of my dad, because my dad's no longer here either. It was nice. It was comforting to just sit with him and to hear stories about Altadena and, how it was back in the 50s and 60s and, how Black people were. Because I was so intrigued by that. What was it like back in Altadena and different things. And then he would dip into and it was funny because Mr. Gene, 2 days before the fire, we were literally in his living room. My auntie took me to his house and we're sitting there and I'm a big music lover and he had all this vinyl in his, and I was like, sir, can I just come over and just listen to your vinyl, the jazz and all this cool stuff? And he goes, yeah, young blood, you can come over anytime you want to, and I was like, yo, this is so awesome, And to know days later when we went back to the property, it was completely in shambles. It was nothing there. I was like, I was literally in his living room sitting there, And same thing with my friend Chris. He came to my house that Tuesday night and he brought 6 backpacks. And I'm thinking yo, dude, it's just the wind. We've been dealing with all this every single year. And little did we know um, that was the last things that he had from his house because his house burned down.
Yeah.
So it checked me like, yo, let me chill on my, I don't know, just taking things for granted. And to know like those, because he brought him in like boom, 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 and he put him right in my living room. And I'm thinking like, do you really need to bring all this stuff?
Yeah.
And yeah, it just hit so hard. And it taught me to like humble yourself more, even though I feel like I'm pretty humble, but man, even more, you just never know. And for the fact that he had to deal with what he was dealing with, losing his home, and then our home. So we just learning and doing different things. And the best way for me was to like help others.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I had that second home in San Gabriel to provide that safe space for Mr. Jean, my auntie, and my mom and everybody else. And coming home sometimes, and I'm like, oh, it just feels nice, like when you have, not to say old people, but
Wise people. We'll say
wise,
wise.
our wise people, and they're cooking food. Baby, did you eat today? And
Yeah.
like, you want some more vegan? What's the vegan stuff? We try to make it felt nice because, I'm usually on the go and, we're out here doing our careers and stuff like that. And it felt nice. And just to sit with Mr. Jean and my auntie and just hearing them laugh in the middle of all this stuff, like knowing like your house is gone and you're laughing. It's like, so who am I to say anything, So it felt nice, and I would do it again and again.
Yeah, I do think human connection is one of the most valuable things, and that's what actually can make really, really rough times, like, honestly seem like a blessing in a way, because you do get to spend a lot more time with the people that you never did before, because we're all caught up in our heads all the time going through our life. We actually kind of forget what's important a lot of times.
Yes.
Like, even when you said your friend came to your place with multiple bags, I feel like a lot of us go home and we don't think twice about having an amazing roof over our head, or like food to eat, or all these like cool knickknacks that we've accumulated over the years and that have memories. A lot of times it's really easy for us to just overlook those small things. And when it's all taken away from you, it's really easy to be like, not easy, but it's really hitting when you're like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
these things that I actually value so much, I've been overlooking for so long. And I feel like when we start to value those things more every single day, we find the magic in life a little bit more, right? And we feel more connected to everybody and ourselves. And what I really love too, though, is like, I do get things are important. Like, they hold memories and they hold stories behind them and culture. And it's really enriching to have like our homes and our memorabilia around us a lot of times. But to me, just because things like materialistic things go away, like the person behind it is the most important thing. Because you're saying you're sitting in your living room with your neighbor and he's telling you all these stories. I'm like, thank God he made it through, because yeah, you might have lost these things, but the story lives on through you. Just because this materialistic stuff is gone does not mean that your history is gone, does not mean the past isn't gone. And if anything, now you have a voice to share with people and educate people. It's not just a thing in the past where they look at something and they're like, oh, I wonder what it is. Now it's your job to kind of educate and rebuild in a way that also respects the past. I do think that a lot of times we think everything's gone, right? Like it's all lost. History's lost because it's burned down. But no, we are the history. And it's going to be carried on through generations long before all this materialistic stuff is gone, as long as we continue to tell our stories. So to me, that's a really important thing, is I'm very happy that you were able to sit with your neighbors and enjoy these stories now. And I do think that, like, tell me, aren't you probably having conversations with your community now about the past that you never would have had if this didn't happen? I'm not saying that, like, it's a good thing, but I do think that it brings, like you said, a lot of things into perspective, and it opens up opportunities to connect more and talk about like the really important things in life and share experiences.
Yeah. It definitely has brought that even more, because I'm pretty versed in the community. I do a lot of stuff. I really care about my community. I care about people. I'm a very caring person. And it just put it more in the forefront, while they were there. I definitely, the last episode we talked about plant-based treaty.
Yeah.
And shout out to plant-based treaty and everybody. I love the team.
Yes,
so we sprung into action, and we were there. So a lot of the evacuees and some people that were affected by the fire, they stayed at the Pasadena Convention Center in Pasadena, because they had no place to go. So it's packed with hundreds of people, crazy. And Red Cross was there and all these different people. But we were there giving out vegan food to whoever needed the food, because if you're vegan and there's no food, because they provided food there, but there were no vegan options. So we were there every day boots on the ground, handing out food, and not just giving food to vegans. They were like, I never tried vegan food. Let me try it. So we were there like and I was able to see the community in an even closer view. You know, people that I knew, people that I've seen still deal with, and new people that were affected. That I'm like, wow. And we all shared that. And they were like, you were affected too, but you're helping. I'm like, yes. Why not? You know, like they couldn't believe that. You know, so it was like, once again, just pouring my heart out to people. You know, I didn't care who they were, how old, young, race. It doesn't matter. It's like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Are you hungry? What can we do? So doing that all day, and then going back home to my auntie, my mom, and Mr. Gene at my house was just it was a comforting feeling, but pulling the heartstrings from seeing the traumatic of people crying because they lost it, but then knowing that we're still alive, you know, even though,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, you know, the memories will exist, you know, through conversations and bringing awareness to it. But it still hurts like, yo, like, you know, I worked so hard for this house and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
definitely.
And for the people who couldn't stay, you know, that's really tough because not everybody can afford the good insurance if you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
Owning a house there's so many things that come with it, you know, versus living in an apartment. I mean, it's still your home, but you know, the fire insurance and different things, how they switched up on a lot of people, which is kind of messed up, you know. So therefore, you're barely making your mortgage, you're barely making it before the fires. Imagine life. And certain people, they had to sell. They had to sell their homes. And ironically, there was the real estate people out there days later
Of course.
taking advantage of the situation because it's a gold mine
Yeah.
to own a house, and it's going to get even more. The property values are going to rise even more. And some people had to go back to, you know, to wherever they came from. So it was just a mixture of emotions and all of it. But through it all, the spirit of community, the spirit of Altadena, we hold our heads up high. We lift each other up and provide all these things. Things are still existing through the rhythms of the village. There's all these different things where they have holistic healing and for people that they offer on a weekly basis. So I'm really proud of our community and the people that help out till this day, because a lot of people forget about it when it's not in the news and we're
Yeah.
unseen, you know, sight unseen, but it still exists for a lot of people that are still hurting.
Yeah, that's why too. I love how you're like, I don't love this necessarily, but people are like, you've been affected and you're here helping. And I feel like the people that have been affected are the ones who are like, I resonate with the pain. I know that it's rough and I do want to make a difference because I know I'm going through it. So other people are going through it. And I think that's beautiful too, how it's like when you take self away, even when you're hurting, it actually helps heal your soul too, because it makes you feel like I would want somebody to do this for me. So I'm helping you. And it's like, just a beautiful circle that goes around of us just caring about one another. And I don't also want to say you have to be affected by it to help, but I just think that like that's something that's helped me a lot. Is a lot of things that I do in life is like I know what it feels like to be that way, and I don't ever want to be the person to say that I stood back while other people were hurting, because Lord knows I wanted somebody to step up in those situations. So I think when we do treat each other how we would want ourselves being treated, like that's when the world might become a little bit of a better place and we all seek understanding. But I'm also curious too, because now it has been a year, right? It's been a while. What are some of the most major changes that you've seen in the community besides obviously the fact like the homes are gone, people are having to move out? What's like an energy thing or like a support system that you've seen change over the past year?
Yeah. So the Healing Village, they do a lot of events, and Rhythms of the Village. You know, these are two organizations that they really care about. So they have monthly events for the community that can come and they can get, you know, massages and holistic healing, food, resources too. You know, so giving the people that are affected information that they may or may not know, you know, just say, hey, you're not alone. There's ways to get resources for your home, for yourself, relocation for certain people that need places to stay, you know, and also the Presbyterian Church too. Really great. They do a lot for the community as well. Pastor Kathleen and Fina and everybody that is in my circle, just to see these amazing people giving their heart and soul to the community and providing resources. It's what's needed, you know, and it's going to continue on for many years. It's not an overnight thing to rebuild, you know, for everybody. So for the people that have the great insurance, great. They're already doing their thing. But to go back to the homes and to see how it was just dirt now, And then to see the little green flowers and stuff like that, it's like, yo, like, wow, it's like a new community, but it's the same, but new, and ideas that can be reinvented for the people of Altadena. So we're there, and I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, I think that's so cool how you said too that it's going to be around for years to come, because that's my thing is like all these things were created to support one another from a tragedy, and I'm like I really hope that all these communities and people being there for one another, we saw a lot of it in the beginning of last year in January. I'm like, why can't we just continue to be there for one another even when there's not a tragedy, even when we're done rebuilding? Like, why can't we keep these safe spaces and these opportunities for people who don't have them still coming in even after everything is essentially quote unquote healed? I think that's what's amazing is through these tragedies, we can see like, hey, we can show up and support each other and we can have these communities and can have these different spaces. And if we can do it during tragedy, we can definitely do it when everything's doing good.
Mhm.
Just because it's not affecting a bunch of people doesn't mean there's still not people every single day going through something that could use that support system and those types of modalities. Like you were saying, different type of healing methods like massage and stuff. I just hope that these stick around a lot longer, like you said.
Mhm. This year, what it has meant for me, and what we can do moving forward, or what I can do personally is just continue to just be the change, that I want to see, to continue with my gift of music and the energy that I bring into it. I'm proud. I'm proud of what we've done and what I've done. With Haven,
Hmm.
So the song's out there. So, please guys, make sure to support the song and know it's coming from a really, really good place. And then filming the music video was another emotional pull because we could have done the glamorous video where it's like, at the beach and, let me be your Haven with the
Yeah.
beautiful girls and all that stuff. But I just felt I wanted to shoot it in Altadena, and there was a mural event, and wonderful artist Katerina, she was there, and she was uh, painted this really beautiful mural for Altadena. It had this huge, like the sun. It was just so beautiful. And when I saw it there, I instantly said, "Yo, I want this in the video. I want to shoot my video, boots on the ground here." And so we shot the video. And shout out to Lucas, my filmographer. We shot it at my house, so I'm standing where my living room was, different scenes,
Oh, wow.
and
Yeah.
just being there in the midst after the fires and talking about this, uh, singing about the song Haven and stuff like that. So it was just like pulling your emotional strings from one extreme to the next because it's like it's great to shoot videos, and but then it's like, yo, like I'm shooting it here after the tragedies. But then I wanted to resonate with the message, like this is what happened, but this is where we're going with it. And the spirit of the mural just showed the unity within it, like the light, and how we can overcome this and how we can continue to be better. So it was just this whole year was a moment of just overcoming the tragedies and then being able to sustain through it all, learn from it, um, get back to the to simple things like what matters the most. Is it really the fancy cars and all this cool stuff, or is it really just about knowing that in the living room over there, my auntie's she's good, or Mr. Gene is he's healing with his head, and all these different things. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
thank you for this lesson, God, and I want to continue with that spirit, and it just a reminder. It was just a reminder, just to keep it low, keep the egos low, keep it. I get it, work hard, stay focused, but just take every single day to just take a moment to be thankful for
Yeah.
breath of life. And when you do have a platform, whether it's here or anywhere, just do some type of good for the world because it's needed so much. And if we can, I agree with you, if we can do more of that beyond having a tragedy
Hmm.
to propel us to do something, because when two neighbors are living side by side and they definitely don't speak to each other for whatever reason, and then they both lose their homes and they're at the shelter together, and then now they're looking at each
Yeah.
other like, now we share something in common, like you had something in common, but if that's what it took for people to hopefully have a conversation about it and to respectfully disagree on certain things, but to agree that we are living in this shared space of life, we could be better.
Yeah.
I really believe that. So, I want to continue to carry that through 26,000, whatever the year is. It's just going to be the spirit of me. And that encompasses Honore and my branding and what I believe in, with not just the music, but there's so much behind it. And I want to continue with that and just do better.
Yeah. Speaking of your branding too, because I feel like your branding is honestly a very big representation of who you are and your core. How were you instilled with these community values even long before this happened, to be honest with you? Why do you think you were always the person where I'm like, I need to do something?
Because I didn't have much growing up. Altadena, we had a house, but we were very poor.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it until like I went to my best friend's house, and they lived in the
Isn't
cooler
that funny
house.
how
I was
you're like,
"What
you
the
think
heck?"
you're the wealthiest person on earth
Yeah,
until you go
I
somewhere else and
mean,
you're
it's
like,
like,
oh.
yeah, like wow, they have a cool car and they have the best this. So it was the way my dad raised and my mom. I was lucky to have my mom and dad.
Mm.
But yeah, we just lived a very modest life, and my five sisters and different things. Being around women all my life, and I just had a sense of I want something better. And you know, my dad, I knew that when I wasn't gonna get a car, that first car. My best friends, they got the Toyota Camry with the bow in the driveway, and like, okay, we're gonna film it. And I knew that wasn't gonna happen for me. So I worked really hard, worked 3 jobs, got my first car. It was a car that I got for a couple grand, but it was mine.
Mm-hmm.
And from then, just wanting better for my life, and then seeing the differences of the community and seeing people like on the street and they're on strung out on drugs and different things. And I'm like, there's things that I don't want to be in life, and I want to be better. So I had to pivot and sacrifice a lot of different things. And within that, still give back to our community and doing things, during the holidays. And then it spawned beyond the holidays because, it's like, it felt like the right thing to do to help people on that one day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what about the other days? And uh, I was questioning as a kid and still today, like, what's beyond that? Where do they go?
Yeah.
Because we're there for them. And it's a very cool social media moment to like, hey, I'm giving back. But what else are we doing the 364 days after that? So I just kind of dove in and been more hands-on with the community, doing things at school and colleges to help other people, give people socks, give them toiletries, different things that we take for granted, but it means the world to them. So,
Yeah.
and now that I have a platform with my music and working hard over the years, people tend to listen a little bit more and they're like, okay. And I'm like, well, I can use this platform for the good, and not only just to promote my music, because let's be real, like that's my career.
Yeah. And the music is what also helps you support these other people.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like an attention getter. It's like, wow, you have my attention. Well, I have your attention for that moment with the music. And then let me slide in some goodness, like some
Yeah.
real, like here's a little bit of testimony of what you could do. Because I've learned and I'm learning, like, as much as I care about the world, you can't force people.
No, you cannot.
You can't force a homeless person to say, dude, why don't you get a job? Like, I got a job, you can't do it. People are going to be who they feel they need to be. And some people maybe don't know how. I will do my very best to suggest and to use myself as an example. But I'm learning more, like trying not to like, well, I did it, you need to do it, because it could trigger people too. So I'm learning at the same time. But also within these podcasts and our music, we want to use it as a platform to inspire people.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to change you. I can't. But if I can help inspire some kind of spark in your brain or in your heart to be better, I think that's my purpose. And I'm going to continue to do what I can till I can't anymore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will say it until I'm blue in the face. I feel like the most inspirational thing you can ever do is just be who you are. Because once again, if you try to tailor it towards other people to get a certain reaction out of them, I feel like it doesn't work, because you can take a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink, right? But when you are genuinely just doing what you want to do, it will reach the people that it is meant to reach, as well as you inspire people to say like, hey, I can do what you're doing too. I see the impact it makes. Humans don't like being told what to do. We
Yeah.
just don't. A lot of us, I'll admit that if somebody tells me something to do, I'm like, I really don't have to do that. And a lot of times people will just do the opposite, because why not? It's just
Mhm.
how we're wired sometimes. But I feel like when you just plant a seed, that's when things can be like, oh, like it's my choice now. I'm choosing to do this and they inspired me. I
Yes.
can't tell you how many people who are just like, a girl was sitting in there maybe last week and she's like, I started modeling and I said I was going to do it since I was in high school. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and say like, just thank you for following your dreams because you're an inspiration that we can actually do something. I just think that it's so cool when you being who you are is the most inspiring thing on earth.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I just want to thank you for being who you are and not trying to force it on people because I do think that's the most powerful thing you can do. And I genuinely believe that a majority of us are good people. And some people get triggered by that. I'm like, maybe 1% are born evil. I genuinely just feel like a lot of us are just hurt or broken or lost. And by seeing people who find themselves in our hole within themselves and trying to do good and inspires other people to heal and do good themselves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm like, even if our messages aren't the same, they're going to reach who they want to reach. And as long as it's coming from a good place, that's all you can ask for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, you know, and just continue to do good things in this world. And it takes a moment to find yourself. And now that I feel like I've found my purpose and I'm grounded in my beliefs, you know, I can come from a place of love and integrity and intention to say, look, I just want the best for everybody. And within the music, with the interviews, my shows, and all these different things, like, yo, like, what an amazing journey thus far to this point, to be thankful to end this year off knowing like, you know what, we did good. I did good. I'm proud of our community. I'm proud of myself because, you know, you didn't have to, but we did it, you know.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go, I didn't have to go through that fire,
No, you didn't.
you know, but whew.
But you stayed true to who you are and like
True.
you can be proud of yourself. And that's what matters the most because like when you show pride in who you are, it shows other people like who's going to love you if you don't love yourself, right? Who's going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? I definitely just feel like it's an energy thing. I wish I had some amazing way to explain it, right? But I'm just like, just be you, do who you are. And yeah, like you know who you are, but you might be a completely different person in a few days from now. And that's okay as long as you know your genuine like energy and what you're here to say. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
But on that note too, I'm trying to think of a last question for you, my dear. What would my last question be? 2026. I'm like, I knew you were doing that. 2026. What is your goal? Not even goal. What is just a motto that you're going to live by?
Continue.
That's your motto. Continue.
Yeah, I don't do the resolution things. I just, because I feel that the momentum of all the seeds that I planted, they're flourishing, you know, they're growing, you know, and it would be an injustice if I didn't continue. Continue to not give up on my dreams, continue to be a good person, continue to learn, continue to, when you fall, you find a way to get up because nobody's really going to help you. You know, they'll support, you know, they love you, but I fully believe that if you don't love yourself, how are you really going to love somebody else? If you don't really understand that you get the information that you need and the right tools, you can be more effective to help the world.
Yeah, definitely.
I've learned that. So 2026 will be another great year. And I do like to reflect from 24 to 25, the progression in my life, career-wise.
I feel like reflection is such a huge thing, honestly, to even create momentum to continue, because a lot of times we talked about, we don't often sit around and see what we've created and what we have around us. We don't appreciate it. And then therefore it's like, if you don't actually see what you've done, how are you ever going to be proud of yourself? Yeah. How are you going to think more things are possible when you don't even realize all the things you've already accomplished?
Yeah. And we move so fast.
Fast.
And we're just hustling. We're doing this, and this, you know. And sometimes it's okay just to chill. And my auntie, she would tell me a lot. She's like, baby, just be still. Be still. And she wouldn't say anything. I'm like waiting for and it hit like, yo, like being still and just letting it just be the way it needs to be. It can bring clarity, and in our way, it could be like meditation and different things like that. But she's from the old school, so maybe she don't really know all that stuff. But she's like, baby, just be still sometimes. You're gonna be all right. Everything will work out. I know you want to be the star and all this different things. I'm like, yeah, auntie, I'm working really hard. She goes, you're doing it. you're exactly where you need to be. Don't feel like you need to be anywhere else. Because if you really believe in yourself, if you believe in the higher power and God and all, whatever you believe in, you're exactly where you need to be. All you need to do is just be still. I was like, okay.
I get
Thank
that.
you, Auntie.
I get that. That's
Yeah.
where I'm like, I love how you mentioned that though, because I briefly mentioned to you before starting this podcast that my like motto for this upcoming year is it's in God's hands.
Yes.
Right? Because I like genuinely believe I'm like a lot. Last year, I feel like I was that person standing in front of the fire with a hose. Okay. And I'm like, that's exhausting.
Yes.
And it's a lot. And sometimes there are things in life that you can't force. You just can't. And I feel like what I've learned last year was acceptance is key. And just faith that everything is going to work out. And oftentimes when you fight things, it doesn't work out in your favor either. Like those people, yeah, the water hose might have worked for a second, but it didn't save their homes. Things are going to happen how they're supposed to anyways. So instead of fighting it, you might as well just go with the flow and like leave it up to God and have faith that it's all going to work out. And I love how you said, just be still. Because I feel like there's also, I had such a misconception of what being still meant. My therapist even told me, she's like, there's a difference between content and complacent, Christina. Like just because you decide to sit for a moment and enjoy your life does not mean that you're not doing anything. It means that you're honing into who you are and you're listening. And then when you do get the signal from being still, you get up and move forward with intention. You're just done running around wasting your energy on things that don't truly matter or don't resonate with your heart and your soul. Like being still doesn't mean sitting there for the entire year and doing nothing. It means allowing downloads to come in and moving forward with intention at a pace. What did somebody say? The fastest way to get anywhere is slowly. Like take your time, do it appropriately, and you're going to get there without creating more chaos or more problems in your life.
I dig.
Yeah. So I really, really love how you said that. Thank you so much. Honestly, Honore, I love your stories. I love how much heart and how much soul you put into absolutely everything that you do. And it truly like vibrates from you. Just seeing how passionate you are about things, like it inspires me where I'm like, good people are out there and doing great things are possible. So I just want to thank you for being you and the work that you're doing.
Well, you're welcome. I appreciate that. And you too with this podcast and all these things, you know, I feel like you should get your flowers right back because I appreciate you inviting me in your space and we're talking and we're living what we do and we're learning. And I think that's the most important thing, you know, just keeping it humble, chill. We exude this energy as well. So yeah, proud of you too.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. And you guys, everyone listening, I'm proud of you too. You're doing great. And thank you so much for listening. Until next time, I love you. Boom.